What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fresh Review. You're new to the channel. What we do here is we review each and every week of the NFL season. We are so back, and we got week one, the most epic week because this that week everybody's hyped for. It has Super Bowl build for all 32 teams. Usually the Super Bowl builds on the top two teams remaining, whatever. All 32 teams got Super Bowl aspirations. Even you're a delusional Bears fan, a delusional Saints fan, you think your team can make the Super Bowl in week one. Now, what we normally did was we went in chronological order of the games. This time we're going to do a little bit different from what we did previously, last year's season. We're going from the worst graded team, or not a team, but game to the best graded one. And we're doing this all in one take. So I usually do a whole lot of edits. We're going to do this all in one take. We got the game of the week in the background for you guys. The Baltimore Ravens take on the Buffalo Bills. And we're going to start by talking about the Carolina Panthers take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in a game I thought was truly awful. Now, this game, you guys might think there's a worse game after, and trust me, we'll get to that game next. But this game had an extensive weather delay, right? And then Bryce Young looked bad yet again, and Trevor Lawrence really didn't look much better. He couldn't get on page with BTJ, so we don't know if that was Matt Jones and BTJ having a great connection, or Brian Thomas Jr. just breaking out late in his rookie year after the bye week and all that, developing, becoming the number one target and number one alpha wideout over there in Jacksonville, or that the Matt Jones and Trevor Lawrence they're just now, well, you know, he got better connection with Matt Jones. We had to see. It's 1 week, so no need to panic or anything like that. But Bryce Young, on the other hand, he looked bad again, and that's super unfortunate to see because he had a great stretch towards the end of the last season. Now you hope that carry over to this season. He threw a pick six this game on a fourth down, but it was called back due to a penalty on the defense. So he got fortunate there. But besides him and T Mac, he really didn't have a great connection with anybody there. So it's kind of unfortunate that they did trade away Adam Thielen because Adam Thielen and Bryce Young had a great connection. So when they did make the move to get Adam Thielen back to Minnesota, I thought, all right, maybe they're doing this because Thielen maybe wants to go back to Minnesota. This part his career maybe wants to contend for a championship. Maybe Carolina can't do it. But then I thought they probably believe in T Mac, Bryce Young, and Xavier Legette so much, and Jalen Coker and all those young wideouts they have over there. The aging veteran they can let walk, and Bryce Young will still develop. After 1 week, no need to panic, but it's not great to see. Now, Travis Hunter, he was primarily used as a wide receiver. Him and Lawrence had a solid connection, but there is nothing really deep they connected on. They used Travis Hunter a lot as a short yardage guy. I think Travis Hunter is more than that. He could stretch the field deep as a deep threat option. I like to see him get utilized deeper down the field next week against Cincinnati. We know they have a bad defense, so I look to see Trevor Lawrence, BTJ, and Travis Hunter to have bigger weeks next week. But ETN had a big week this week, and they just traded away Tank Bigsby to Philadelphia. So the sky's the limit for ETN. He's getting big play after big. His contract year, he's trying to get that bag. Now, like I said, I thought this was a truly awful game. I give it a 14 out of 100 because like the weather delay for this game got to knock it down a whole lot of points. Because I can imagine being a fan going to this game and it being so bad. Then you hit us with a weather delay that was like 2 hours. I probably would have left, right? There's multiple weather delays this week, but I mean, at least the other ones, the games were decent, right? Where you might want to come back and watch. This one, I probably just, all right, deuces. I'll catch you later. Now, we're going on to another game. Now, the Dolphins take on the Colts. And I thought this was a bad game. Now, the reason it wasn't as bad as the previous one wasn't a weather delay. And at least one team looked good. And we're going to talk about that good team real quick. And that was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the only quarterback since 1991. And that's, it could possibly be ever, but the data goes back to 1991. To score on every possession that they had the ball. Now, and that either is a field goal or a touchdown. Now, the other quarterbacks have came close, right? But if you take a knee during the final possession and don't score, it voids it. I think you get subbed out. Also voids it. So stuff like that has happened. But he's the only quarterback. That's the stat they said on Red Zone. I saw other people verify that stat as well. Now, the rookie tight end Tyler Warren, he looked great. He got the ball early and often. And so did the other great, well, not great, but so did the other pass catchers in this offense. I thought they all looked really good. Pittman found the end zone. Pierce was out there a lot. He's a deep threat for them. I thought it was the right call to start Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson. It looks like I was right, and so was Shane Steichen. Now, this might be deja vu from last year, but a former New York quarterback couldn't get it done in New York. He moves out farther west. He gets the starting job there and revitalizes his career. What a better team, right? And the reason he got the starting job, their early draft pick quarterback kind of got injured or whatever, and then you just beat him out in the camp battle, QB battle that way, right? So I'm referencing Sam Darnold from last year and now Daniel Jones this year. So that's that. Now for Miami, Tua looked awful. Tyreek Hill was crashing down the sideline. I think he gets traded before the deadline. And I just think this Miami team's too soft physically and mentally to really be a threat. Uh, I think they get bullied around too much, especially in the trenches. I think they're a finesse team, and you need like power and grit to actually be a Super Bowl threat. But to even make the playoffs, you probably got to be a little bit more physical and stuff. I just think they're a soft team. I think Matt McDaniels, this is last year in Miami. I could see him being the OC for Detroit, but overall, I thought this was a bad game. Given a 28 out of 100, at least the Colts showed up, so it was decently entertaining to watch the Colts dominate. But man, it was a rough game to watch if you're a Dolphin fan. Now we're going on to our next game, below average game, and that was the Detroit Lions take on the Green Bay Packers. Now, Anzalone, really good linebacker for the Lions. He had a chance to get a pick that would put the Lions back in the game, but he dropped it. So the Packers got fortunate there. Now, the Lions schematically did not look nearly as good as they did when they had Ben Johnson, right? So you could definitely see the Ben Johnson uh, leaving hurt the Lions this game in particular. And the Packers defense might be elite now with the addition of Michael Parsons. They moved them everywhere on the formation. They even lined him up at D tackle at one point. Um, he already got his first sack in the green and yellow uniforms. He's going to continue to get more of those. Now, the Packers still don't have a number one wide receiver. I wasn't high on Matthew Golden going into the draft, and he got taken in the first round at Green Bay. They don't really take first round wide receivers. I think the first time in 20 years they took one. He didn't impress me too much this game. But Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, they made some plays and stuff. Tucker Kraft made some plays. I think it's gonna be another year of just Green Bay spreading the ball around to all their wide receivers. I don't think they got a true number one. Now, the Lions, on the other hand, they might have three number ones because we already know about St. Brown. He's a proven perennial Pro Bowler. Jameson Williams, he just got paid the bag, 3 years, $83 million. But Isaac Tesla made a spectacular one-headed TD catch. Now, I know it was in garbage time, but he will be getting more playing time in the future. He's a freak of an athlete. Super tall, great vertical. You can see the hands on display when he made that spectacular one-handed catch, got his feet in bounds, and he's fast. So Isaac Tesla could definitely be a dynamic player for him. I'm kind of surprised they signed Jameson Williams. Cause I thought Isaac Tesla could have been J-Mo's replacement, and you saved that 27 to 28 mil per year. But they decided to sign J-Mo to a 3-year deal. Overall, though, I thought this was a below average game, 42 out of 100. Wasn't very entertaining. No crazy big plays for the most part. Kind of disappointing game. Now we're going on to another game. That was the Patriots versus the Raiders. Slightly above average game. Now, Genty couldn't get much going on the ground, but he scored a touchdown. But he got a lot of the workload. Hopefully, he can be more efficient next week. But the volume is there. You just got to get the efficiency up. The Raiders don't have a great O line, but 2 yards per carry is unacceptable. Now, Gino reunited with Pete Carroll. And it must feel so good to be a Raiders fan. He connected on a lot of deep passes this game. Goes for over 350 yards passing. He was willing and dealing out there. Great to see Gino back with Pete Carroll. Raiders look like a potential playoff contending team, right? If Gino's going to keep throwing like that. Now, Patriots offense, they didn't look explosive. May spread the ball around, but they don't have a deep threat to really open up the field for any of the underneath routes underneath. So, Diggs isn't the deep threat, especially after the ACL injury. Hunter Henry's a tight end. They got Trayvon Henderson, who could be a little explosive, but that's a running back. You're not going to send him on streaks and wheel routes over and over or anything like that. He had a bunch of catches. Keyshawn Butte might be okay-ish, but eh, no. Nothing really impressed me with the Patriots offense, right? But it's only 1 week. But I thought it was a slightly above average game. I'm giving it a 52 out of 100. Now, we're going on to our next game, and that is the New York Giants take on the Washington Commanders. I thought this was slightly above average as well. Now, uh, Neighbors and Dayball got into an argument on the sideline. Dayball tried to dap up Neighbors, but Neighbors left him hanging. I'm not sure if Neighbors saw the extended hand or not, but that's a bad luck, right? So hopefully, they got that settled out behind closed doors and all that. But another bad look is Russell Wilson, who had a completion percentage under 50%. There's already questions in New York starting, about, who's going to start in week 2? I think somebody asked Dable that at the press conference. And I think that's kind of wild to even start this early in the season. But um, basically, they're trying to, they want Dart in New York. And I think he's a little too early for Dart. I like Dart, but I think the longer he sits and learns, the better. Russ did lead the team in rushing yards, so old man Russ still has some wheels. But Dart's even more dynamic with his legs than Russ is at this stage of Russ's career. So Russ isn't going to give you any value through the air. Uh, they will eventually make that switch, right? Now, the good thing for the Giants, though, their D line did look very formidable, like how most people, including myself, expected for them to look. So that's great there. But we go over to the other side. Jaden Daniels picked up right where he left off. He overthrew McLaurin on a deep bomb, but maybe if McLaurin was practicing, they would have connected on that pass. But McLaurin, after holding out, of course, starts off slow, like how many or most players do after they hold out and all that. The chemistry kind of wasn't there. They normally connect on that deep bomb. They did last year. This time they weren't able to. Now Debo Samuel, he shines though. He scores on this wide receiver end around that pretty much sealed the game. He showcased his vision and strength, followed his blockers, got into the end zone. Had a great game. Debo definitely did. Looks like a great fit for this Washington Commanders offense. Now, JCM, aka Bill, looked really good. He bounced a TD run out to the outside for his first career TD. I could see many more TDs from this man in the future. He's an upgrade from Brian Robinson because Bill has great vision and solid burst. Brian Robinson's more of a slow bruiser type back. I think Bill got him beat in vision and burst, and I think the vision and burst complements Daniel's dual threat ability better than the slow bruiser style running back. Now, like I said, thought this was a slightly above average game. I'm going to give it a 56 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. And our next game is the Cardinals taking on the Saints. And all these games are good or better, in my opinion. Now we go Saints offense with Kellen Moore and Spencer Rattler at the helm. Look decent enough, right? A lot of people, including myself, thought this team could potentially go 0-17, something like that. Uh, they still haven't won. So 0-17 is still technically on the table, but they showed me enough where, like, okay, they could probably win a few games. They have a good game and catch a team slipping, and team doesn't bring their A game or B game to beat them. They could definitely compete. There's some inexperience though from Kellen Moore. The Cardinals are at goal to go right before half. We'll have minute 10 left. What the Saints should have done was call a timeout. Instead, they don't call the timeout, so they let the Cardinals wind down the clock by 40 seconds. So it goes from 1 minute and 10 seconds to 30 seconds left, and the Cardinals score a TD. The Saints could have gotten the ball back before half with more than a minute left and a couple timeouts to try to get in field goal range. Instead, they got 3 timeouts in 30 seconds. It's tougher to get in field goal range than it is you got 1 minute plus and 2 timeouts. But nevertheless, uh, that's inexperience there by Kellen Moore. You hate to see that. Because as a Madden player, I think time management and clock management is kind of simple and basic, but nevertheless. Now, the Saints had a chance to tie the game up. Rattler threw a great pass to Jawan Johnson, but Johnson got hit in midair. He wasn't able to hold on to it. This would have been an amazing play if he held on. I was curious to see if the Saints would have went for two or to kick the PAT to force overtime, but I guess we'll never know in the words of Kanye West. Now, Trey Benson breaks a 50-yard run. I think this backfield will eventually become a little bit more 50-50, split wise. But right now, it's 60-40 in favor of James Conner. And Murray finds Marv on a 45-yard bomb down the sideline. He also finds Marv in the end zone, so it's great to see them connecting. We'll see if that continues. Marv been putting in a lot of work in the offseason. Looks like that work might be paying off. Like I said, though, thought this is a good game. I'm going to give 74 out of 100. Came down to the wire. But, it's Cardinals, Saints. It's like, you're not really hyped to watch it or anything like that. It is what it is. Now we're going on to another game I thought was really good. That's the Texans versus the Rams. Now, Puka takes a hit to the head that causes him to bleed. And he took the hit from Henry Tuotoa. I think I said his name right. But Tua Toa also hit Devontae Adams. This man was out there headhunting. They might have a bounty gate defense going on out there in Houston. Oh my goodness. But Puka took this nasty hit to the head that caused him to bleed. They evaluated him for a concussion, but he's cleared to return. So he's going in and out of the game because not only did he have to get evaluated, every time he bled, they subbed him out because can't have blood on the field or something like that. I don't know the exact rules, the Magic Johnson rules or whatever they call them, but nevertheless, he got to go in and out of the lineup. But he still had a big game regardless. They could not guard this man. Even I don't want to call it the Jordan Flu game, but the Puka Bleed game or something. I don't know what it is, but this is a fire game by Puka. He submitted himself as a top 5 wide receiver and could go even higher in the rankings. I could see people even say he's a top 3 wide out in the league. This man is elite. Now, right before half, the Rams go for on 4th down from the 1 yard line. It's 4th and goal. And Kyron gets the touchdown. I thought that was a ballsy decision to go for it, and I thought it was the right call to go for it. So the gutsy decision paid off. But I'm like, let's say you don't get it, well, essentially you got a 50-50 chance, right? You probably get it or don't, right? Actually, a little bit more than that, because 50-50 chance is like a 2-point conversion. You're at the 2 yard line. You're at the 1 yard line, so you got to elevate the odds a little bit more. Maybe 50-60, but then you do more than double your points, right? So you could take the 3 points or you could take the 7 points, right? So you gamble, you got increased odds more than 50-50 to get 7 points or just settle for 3. I thought it was a great decision there. Also, you don't get it, you get a chance at a safety, right? So, there's even that. But nevertheless, the gutsy decision paid off. Stafford goes for over 60,000 yards for his career this game. Nick Chubb, he let the one on the ground for the Texans. The Texans are marching down the field late in the game. They're going for the game-winning touchdown. But Ogumba Wale fumbled the ball. It got punched down. The Rams recovered it. The Rams get a first down to ice the game. And the Texans, they scored 0 TDs this game, but they had a chance at the end. Just 3 field goals for them. Their leading wide receiver was Jaden Higgins with 32 receiving yards. The Texans O-line still looks like Swiss cheese. And it's going to be another year of C.J. Stroud laying flat on his backside like an X-rated movie star. I won't lie to you. I think C.J. Stroud will be in there for another long year. Don't envy that guy whatsoever. But I thought it was a really good game here. I'm going to give it a 76 out of 100. Now, we're going on to our next game, which is the Browns take on the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought this was another really good game. Myles Garrett was wreaking havoc on that Bengals O-line. He sacked Burrow consecutively in the second half. Now, Joe Flacco, he threw 2 picks, but none of these picks were really on him. Both should have been caught. The wide receivers bobbled them or dropped, I don't know what you want to call it, but they weren't able to corral it. And the DBs went and got him off the bobble. So it went off the wide receiver's hands and right to the DB's hands. Very unfortunate picks. Now, Dylan Sampson for the Browns, the super young rookie, not even 21 yet, can't even drink. But he's looking very dynamic, especially in the passing game. They utilized him a lot, got a great burst. We're going to see how much they continue to utilize him when Quinshon Judkins returns. He did just sign Judkins, so we'll have to see everything about that. But the Bengals, they had 7 yards in the second half and won this game. The Browns had 216 yards in the second half and lost this game. That is an insane stat to look at. Now, the Bengals were up 1 with under 2 minutes left in the game. It was 4th and 1. The Bengals trusted their horrendous defense to get a stop more than they trusted Burrow to get a first down, 1 yard. I know it's deep in their own territory, so they don't get it. The Browns are in field goal range. But I'm going to let you know right now. When it comes to the Hurts versus Burrow debate, I always said Hurts was better, and people looked at me like I was crazy. Hurts, 4th and 1, we're getting that, by the way, right? We're going for it. Our coach trusts our quarterback to pick that up. And we got a better defense than the Bengals. We're just going to go pick it up, though. You know what it is. Burrow. Y'all got 7 yards and a half. Imagine Jalen Hurts got 7 yards and a half. Joe Burrow had a healthy Jamar Chase, a healthy T. Higgins. They warmed up together in the preseason. Everybody's healthy in training camp, including Joe Burrow. Everything. You threw for less than 115 yards? If Hurts throws for less than 115, he gave you 50 plus on the rushing department. Burrow ain't give you much in the rushing department this game. I'm not trying to bash Burrow, because I think he's a top 5 quarterback. I think he's elite. But when it comes to Burrow versus Hurt, can we just have the same standards? This man just had a bad game and got carried by his defense. Can we really just come down to the same standards? 115 passing yards, and we got the supposedly the best wide receiver duo in the league. I, no, I said though, I thought it was a really good game. I'm gonna get 78 out of 100. Came down to the wire, divisional matchup. But man, bad game by the Cincinnati Bengals, but at least they won it. They normally start slow in September and normally start 0-2 in September. This time they actually start 1-0. Now we're going on to our next game, which is also really good. Another really good divisional matchup. And now the 49ers take on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Kittle got a touchdown early in this game, but he injured his hamstring later on, and he will go on IR and miss the next 4 games at a minimum. He could even miss more. Now, McCaffrey was somebody that was quote unquote injured maybe before going into this. I'm not sure the injury is legit or not. I talked to my boy Dan. Maybe they hit us with the Seth Rollins ruse. By the way, we do WWE videos here. Maybe they just said, let's put McCaffrey on the you know injured report just to mess with people, see what they do, see all the uproar and chaos, right? Uh, because he got a full workload this game. He got 31 touches, 22 carries, 9 catches, right? So that's a full workload without a doubt. Uh, had a calf issue pop up, like I said, on the injury report, and probably the same calf from before, so it's very concerning. But I don't see anything here. And truthfully, about McCaffrey, I think he's going to be on the injury report all year long. Listed as questionable over and over. I don't think he's going to get many full practices now that the season's underway. I think they're going to keep limiting him, try not to overwork him in practice, and just save him for the games. Now, Ricky Pearsall, he goes for over 100 yards here. Got a deep bomb that got the Niners down the field for the game-winning drive. Great ball there by Brock Purdy for that pass. Needed a bit weak from Pearsall with Ayuk being on IR, still recovering for his torn ACL, and with Kittle and Jennings leaving the game early due to injury. Needed Pearsall to step up, and he did in a big way. Purdy, he's also banged up. His status for next game is uncertain. He threw a couple of picks that were head scratchers, but he got the game-winning TD. He found Kittle's replacement, Jack Tongs, in the back of the end zone, threw a jump ball up, and Tongs came down with it. I thought it was going to be a pick, but then the DB really didn't attack the ball too well. Tongs was able to undercut him and get the pick. Excuse me, get the touchdown. Now we go over to Seattle. Charbonnet and Walker, this was like a 50-50 split in the backfield. I kind of expected that to happen. But, I mean, there is a world where Walker maybe gets traded because Charbonnet is a full 3-down back. And are you going to pay Charbonnet in the offseason? That's what, I mean, not season, that's Charbonnet. Walker in the offseason. Because you're not going to pay Walker. It would be best to trade on and get something back. Depending on what you're looking record wise. You think it could go contend and stuff, then keep them both and try to go contend. But you did about 500, probably not a Super Bowl contender or anything like that. I could see Walker getting traded. That'd be great for the Charbonnet owner, aka me. Now we go with Sam Darnold, who threw for only 150 passing yards, but Smith and Jigba had 124 of those yards. That's more than 80% of the yards going to the one player. Seattle will have to get more players involved next week in the passing game. Okay, 80% going to JSN. That's not ideal. That's not sustainable, of course. So you're gonna have to maybe drop more plays for other wide receivers, get them more involved, or I mean maybe I just missed out on too many JSN shares. Cause wow, but great game here by JSN. I said really good game though, 78 out of 100. Now we're going into the great games, and this game here for the great one, I do have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm trying to find it in my notes. I really can't find it. So, oh, here it is. I passed it. All right. Now, Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott to start the game. And I'm like, Jalen Carter's ejected. I'm sitting down watching the game. All I hear is Jalen Carter has been ejected. I'm like, what just happened? They didn't show anything then, but then they go and they show the replay. And Jalen Carter spits on this man, Dak Prescott. Now, people are saying, oh, Dak spit at Jalen Carter and stuff like that. That's nonsense, right? Whatever the case may be, he got rage bit it. But why was Jalen Carter in their huddle to begin with? Truth be told, I always hated the huddle stuff because Rajon Rondo used to do that nonsense. I'm like, that is so whack to me. There's a half court line in the NBA. If you cross that half court line during the timeout, the referee should be allowed, depending on discretion, to give you a tech, right? Now you went over there, you crossed the line to go talk to the referee or something like that. All right, cool, whatever. But in this case, in football, there's the ball that is marked. It is placed wherever it was, the line of scrimmage. If you cross that line, you're offsides. You're in the neutral zone, right? A neutral zone infraction on the defense. That should be an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Like, well, of course, referee discretion, but like, what are you doing on their side in their huddle trying to eavesdrop on their play call or whatever? Like, you want to talk to somebody, you could talk to them after the game. Don't talk to them before the game. Or you want to talk to them before the game, do it during warm ups. Like, teams are out here locked in trying to get plays in, you eavesdropping. Like, my boy Sway's girl, right? I got homeboy named Sway, she be listening to every conversation we be having. But nevertheless, uh, Jalen Carter, he's ejected, could possibly get suspended. I think he probably should, but I don't think they will. So I mean, the spit has happened so early in the game where he pretty much missed the whole entire game. A suspension would be like a 2 game suspension, whatever. But you want to set like a precedent for this, right? Because well, somebody else spits, right? Are you telling me I get to spit on somebody and all I get is fined? Bet. I might just, hey, end of the game, our season over, pow, just spit on you, right? Do it in the postseason, whatever. I personally wouldn't do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if some NFL players do it. I'm kind of surprised that Jalen Carter did it. He had some character concerns going into the draft process and all that. But nevertheless, I thought this game started off spectacularly. Each team scored on their first 4 possessions, but then there was a weather delay, and then the game derailed after that. It became way more defensive after the weather delay. CeeDee Lamb had multiple drops this game. Mr. Butterfingers himself. I always felt like CeeDee Lamb was an overrated wideout. I know people are going to say A.J. Brown only had 1 catch. I always had A.J. Brown over CeeDee Lamb because of the hands department. CeeDee Lamb gets schemed up a lot where they move him around, motion, slot, all this stuff. And they utilize CeeDee Lamb to his fullest potential. A.J. Brown, we just line that man out wide for the most part and say go win. But the hands concern for CeeDee Lamb always been a huge thing for me. Multiple drops this game. I'm pretty sure he got the most drops in the NFL since like 2021 or something. But Eagles have the best linebacker duo in the league. Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond. And when the Kobe Dean returns, it's going to be filthy. But they don't have a third corner. They have Cooper DeJean, who's a great slot corner. Quinion Mitchell is a great number 1 corner. It was barbecue chicken on whoever was on the field. Dory Jackson or Bennett. Bennett played better than Jackson, so I'm curious to see if Bennett gets to start next week against Kansas City. But Kansas City wideouts are cooking. When they got a banged up Worthy, no Rasheed Rice, and like if we're getting burnt by Juju and Hollywood Brown, that will be very, very concerning. But nevertheless, Hurts was the best player on the field this game. He made many clutch plays with his legs. Dak was really good. The stats won't show it, but Dak was really good. Got them down the field repeatedly. And then, but Javonte Williams got the touchdown, so a lot of people are hyped about him. Nice 2 touchdown game for Javonte. But there's a lot of pushing and shoving in this game, and it made it very, very entertaining. Now, I thought this was a great game. I'm going to give it 82 out of 100. It would have been higher. The weather delay didn't happen, but, that changed the game around. Now we go on to another great game, another divisional rivalry matchup, and that's the Chargers taking on the Chiefs. This one didn't have a weather delay, so this is why I kind of gave it the edge. Now, Worthy, early on in the game, he gets taken out by Travis Kelce in a friendly fire route. Now, Kelce kind of did make up for it by scoring a TD on a blown coverage, but other than that, he was silent. Didn't have a great game, but he did have that one big play. Hollywood Brown, he did step up though. He had 10 catches for 100 yards, including a deep bomb he caught on 4th down. Now, Hampton, a rookie, he made a rookie move, which is something that's still inexcusable because you play football your whole life. The rules are the same. You don't run out of bounds here. Hampton runs out of bounds late in the second half. Excuse me, in the second quarter, right before halftime. And he ran down, slid in bounds. Then the Chiefs weren't had enough time to really do anything. They take a knee, go back into halftime. But he runs out of bounds. That gives the Chiefs over 40 seconds to go down and get in field goal range, and that's exactly what they do. Uh, Now, Mahomes, he made some special plays, including the 4th down bomb to Hollywood Brown while he was falling down that we talked about earlier. He also did this flip pass to Juju while he was being tackled. Kept his eyes upfield, was able to flip it to Juju for 1st down. Now, Herbert, he was slinging that thing, similar to how he did years ago, like prime Justin Herbert. Most people, including myself, expected this to be a run-heavy offense. Maybe the Chargers, with their new additions to wide receiver, they passed the ball much more than we expected. Maybe it's just 1 week. Let's not overreact. But, man, Quentin Johnston looked good. Keenan Allen looked good. And, of course, Lat McConkey looked good. And they still got Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, so other wideouts they can sub in and out. And, man, It looked really good. Your Chargers, you got to be excited for how this offense is looking. Like I said, I thought this was a great game. I'm going to give it 84 out of 100. They even had a halftime show of a girl I don't really know too much about, but she was moving them hips. Them hips do not lie. Now, we're going on to another great game, but this wasn't just great. This was a truly great game. And that's the Minnesota Vikings take on the Chicago Bears. Now, for Caleb Williams, this was a tale of two halves. He started off the game 10 for 10. He willing and dealing. The Bears decided to go for a fourth down here, and I didn't hate the call. They went for a fourth down. The guy took the field goal. I didn't love the call though. I normally am an aggressive type guy, but it's fourth down and you still got to go score a touchdown. If it's fourth and goal, I can understand because you convert it, you get the touchdown. But there's still a chance the Vikings still stop you anyway. So I think it's a little too risky to go for it there. They should have took their field goal. But they drew up a great play. Caleb Williams just overthrew DJ Moore. So instead of being a conversion, it's an incompletion. So you got 0 points on that play and left points on the board there. But man, after that start, Caleb Williams wasn't the same quarterback. Like 11 for 21 maybe, or 25 maybe after that 10 for 10 start. Can't remember exactly, but he went downhill. Now, J.J. McCarthy, he threw a pick six, and he was looking bad the first three quarters. He had one play where he was tripping over his own legs, or maybe somebody tripped him, but I'm like, oh, he's going to run for the first down here. No, he trips, falls. Uh, he goes down. He throws his pick six. Uh, Try to hit Jefferson on this out route, but McCarthy really never stepped into the throw, so it's like late and it's behind Jefferson. The corner read it all the way. The corner never even bit on JJ running deep, so he broke on the ball perfectly, caught it in stride for a pick six. I thought the game was over then. Right? I'm like, oh, the stadium pulse is too high. The stadium's shaking. Hey, stick a fork in them, they're done. No. J.J. McCarthy bounces back. So he had more passing yards to the other team than he did to his own team through three quarters. But that fourth quarter hit, and the man turned into a Michigan quarterback that was drafted 20 plus years ago. The man turned into Tom Brady. I kid you not. Um, he had the go-ahead TD touchdown to Aaron Jones, which was a beauty. Back shoulder, right pylon, perfectly thrown ball. He had the game-sealing TD run that put him up by two possessions. So he showcased the athleticism there. And he becomes the first quarterback to account for 3 TDs in the fourth quarter of his NFL debut. He might be the first player ever, but I just wrote first quarterback to do it because I knew that was a stat that was like actual. I couldn't remember. I saw the stat was quarterback or player, but I'm like, I know quarterback at least is truthful. Now, like I said, I thought this truly was a great game. 87 out of 100. I want to see the Bears utilize Luther Burden and Coach Loveland more. I think they will do that throughout the season, but right now they're relying on the veterans, Cole Kmet and Olamide Zaccheaus, who had solid games and stuff. But I would like to see their early rookie draft picks get a little bit more involved as the season goes on. But it was a disappointing L for the Bears. You lose at home after you look so good in the first half. Uh, yeah, very disappointing L. Now we're going on to our next game, and there's 3 games here that were all spectacular or better, and it was tough to rate them. So, well, no. The game of the week is like the one you see in the background. That one wasn't tough to rate. That was the best game without a doubt. But these two right here I have tied. I want you guys to tell me which one you like more. The Steelers versus Jets or the Bucks versus Falcons. I'm going to give the edge to the Bucks versus Falcons personally, but they got the same grade here, 97 on 100. And I'm not sure if I said the Vikings versus Bears one, but that's a truly great 87 out of 100. But now we're going to start with the Steelers versus Jets, the revenge game for both quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, and both quarterbacks brought their A game. They had a lot to prove here. Now, the Jets, this is a crazy stat here. They had 0 punts in the first half. That is the first time the Jets had 0 punts in the first half since 1991. Now, we talked about the Cowboys and Eagles games, where both teams scored every time they had the ball for the first 3 quarters about near. All right, first 40 minutes of the game, they had the ball, they got points on the board. The the Jets not doing that in 25 years about near is insane. But DK had this insane catch himself, though. That's pinballed off multiple defenders, and he still somehow corralled it while he was on his back. And then Ramsey gave Fields this hard hit at the end of the first half. right? So then, you hit the team's quarterback like that, you're going to get some pushing and shoving going on. Garrett Wilson and a bunch of Jets didn't like that, so like I said, pushing and shoving on Ramsey. Later in the game, on fourth down, Field scrambles out. He throws to an open Garrett Wilson, but he leads Wilson up the field. So Wilson probably thought he could catch it or run. Instead of possession catching it on Madden with X, he hit square. He tried to do a run after catch animation, and Ramsey popped him, derailed him. Ramsey got up, did the night celebration. Garrett Wilson's laid out. Wind knocked all the way out of him. He's out of there. Dropped the ball. The ball got jarred loose by the hard hit on Ramsey. Oh my goodness gracious. That's the Steelers win. That is how the Pittsburgh Steelers win a game. A hard hit like that, yeah, that is Steelers football indeed. A great hit. Now, the Jets, they had a couple costly mistakes. There's one, a corner should have had a pick six, or at least a pick, but like he slipped or tried to make a diving catch instead of just sliding his feet and then making the catch simple and easy. I don't know what he was doing there, but their second corner was bad all game, and they also fumbled on the kickoff here, what gave the Steelers a double dip, where you score a touchdown, oh you get the ball right back and you score again. So very bad, costly mistakes here by the Jets. But the Jets did have this one great play call on fourth and goal. They did a naked bootleg with Justin Fields, and he's able to walk into the end zone. Beautiful play call here. Everybody bit on it. But I loved Brees Hall. Brees Hall looked really good this game. The Ohio State connection, Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson looked really good this game. And Aaron Rodgers looked really good this game. He was going to be the cover athlete until that man you guys see right there in the huddle decided to turn into Superman. He put the cape on and went crazy. Now, we're going on to our next game. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Atlanta Falcons in the game I thought was spectacular. Now, I said 97 out of 100, just like the last game. But the game starts with Bijan taking a swing pass 50 plus yards for a touchdown, and that was a blast to watch. Okay, he got the ball in the open field, and you get to see his vision, which is impeccable. He followed his blockers, zigged and zagged, and then made his way down the field, showed up the speed to run past the defenders. Now, there's this one point where I kid you not, the Falcons were in the red zone for like 20 minutes. Not game minutes, but like 20 real life minutes. Because Penix had to use his legs on fourth down to get a conversion, and then the ball went out of bounds and like through the back of the end zone. So then they start reviewing. The referees got to talk. All right, what was he down? Did the ball go out the back of the end zone? Did it go out of bounds first? Like they're reviewing everything here to even get past the marker. They're talking everything out. Then they got to go review it and stuff. Then all that time goes on, right? But that's a fourth down conversion. That was like when they're inside the red zone. It comes down to fourth down yet again. Penix scrambles yet again. He goes towards, runs up the middle, dives into the end zone, gets tripped up, puts his arm down, well, hand down rather, and then stretches with his other arm to barely break the plane to score the TD on fourth and goal. They got to go review that one as well because that's a bang bang play. I'm like, this Joker Penix is a dog. It's so surprising to see the 40 time he ran. I can't remember if it was 4.4 or 4.5, but I'm like, all right, so you got Wills. He just doesn't use them because he's a pocket passer. But you can see when he wants to run, he can definitely book it. Um, but that gave them the lead. Now, the game was over, though. The Buccaneers had a lot of time left to go down and get a touchdown, and that's exactly what they did. Baker finds Emeka Ibuka on a post route deep down the middle, and Ibuka catches the touchdown, the second one of the game for him. And Ibuka becomes the second player since 1970 to get a game-winning TD with under 1 minute left in their first career game. It was the second TD of the game, like I said. So Ibuka in our fantasy league, me and my homeboy, we were talking about Ibuka all season and stuff. I'm like, Ibuka is the brick. How high are we willing to set the price? And I kid you not, in every draft, Ibuka kept going higher and higher up the draft boards because we all believed in this kid, and it's great to see what he's doing. Ohio State alumni, man, wide receivers. It's that easy to draft. Just go LSU or Ohio State. You're in good hands. Now, the Buccaneers, even after that Ibuka touchdown, the game wasn't over because they missed the PAT. So instead of them going up by 4 points, they're only up by 3. That gave the Falcons, instead of them having to get a game-winning TD, they need, a field goal to tie the game. They get in the field goal range, and Younghoe Koo, a really good kicker, misses the field goal, and that is how they lose. I really wanted overtime. If we got overtime in this game, it could have been game of the week, perhaps, but I don't know. This Nets game would have been very tough to beat. Well, I said 97 out of 97. 97 out of 100 for both of those games. Let me know what you guys thought was the best one. And now we're going on to the game of the week, the one you guys see in the background, and that's the Ravens versus the Bills. And D Hop had this one-headed TD catch that should have sealed the game for the Ravens. They were up by like 15 with like 4 minutes left, maybe 5 minutes left, whatever the case may be. I'm like, the game's over. Uh, but Derrick Henry all game long was getting loose on TDs, run after run, big run. It reminded me of the game they did last year in Week 4, where Derrick Henry ran all over Buffalo. I'm like, Buffalo just can't stop this man. But he had this costly fumble when the Bills are trying to, when the Ravens are trying to run out the clock. Derrick Henry puts the ball on the ground. That set the Bills up to go get the game time touchdown, right? Because the possession before, it was on fourth down. The Bills are down by 15. Keon Coleman makes a diving TD catch off of deflection on fourth down. That kept the Bills in the game. Uh, he also, Keon Coleman also had this big catch and run later on the Bills' final drive that got them in the game-winning field goal range. But uh, Zay Flowers, like I said, he had a. I'm all over the place right now. There's so much I want to talk about this game. But the Derrick Henry fumble was costly, of course. Then the Bills go for on two, and they went for 2-point conversions multiple times this game. I didn't like the Bills going for it so much, especially when you're down. When you're down 14, it makes sense because you get the 2-point conversion one time, and then next time you get the PAT, you win the game, whatever. But they're down by 15, and they went for a 2-point conversion the first time. No, you don't do that. You actually go for the 2-point conversion the second time. The reason why is because in this case, the Bills didn't get it. Now they're down by 9 instead of being down by 8. So now you're down 2 possessions. The game should have been over, right? But nevertheless, the Bills somehow fought their way back in here and won this game. Now, Zay Flowers, he had a great game, but when they needed a first down to seal the game, right? All the Ravens got to do, get a first down, you win the game. They did a wide receiver reverse to Zay Flowers, and I thought that was just stupid, right? Henry and Lamar are the two best players on the team, without a doubt. They should have got the ball and put in their hands all 3 to 4 downs, and I guess Lamar did get the memo that it wasn't 4 down territory. Because then on third down, Lamar throws like a drag route short of the sticks. So now it's 4th and 3. And my whole thing is, hey, go for this. Because I don't trust my defense to stop the Buffalo Bills offense. Josh Allen's on a heater right now. He's the reigning MVP. The crowd's going crazy. There's too much momentum right now for us to give them the ball back and then say, all right, we got 4 downs to stop Josh Allen. Like, no, I'm not liking the odds here. So I'm saying, hey, I got the person I believe is MVP, Lamar Jackson. He should have won it last year, right? If I'm Coach Harbaugh, right? That's what I'm saying. Let's put the ball in his hands. Let's see if he can go out there and get us the game-winning conversion around fourth down. We don't do that. They throw it short of the sticks and they don't go for it. They decide to punt. So your best players watch on the sideline helplessly. Now, like I said, thought this was well, the Ravens, I got the note right here, are the first team in NFL history to score 40 plus points. Well, yeah, 40 points or more, rush for 235 yards and lose. The previous team to do this were all 277-0. The Ravens are notorious chokers. They choke in hilarious fashion every time. I got multiple Ravens fans. I just love trolling them. But no, it's one game. Both teams look really good. You're gonna see they could meet again in the playoffs. This was a ALC divisional round matchup last year. I could see being another one this year. Both these teams are really good, but the Bills, big win for them because if both teams probably will win their division, this could be the tiebreaker here. The Bills over the Ravens. But nevertheless, I thought this game was legendary. I'm giving it a 100 out of 100. What a game this was. This might have been the best game, even going back to games last year. I don't know if that's recency bias or not, but I can't think of a game being as good as this one last year, where it would come to them to like highlight play after highlight play over and over, and then you get the epic finish where it's like, yo, I'm watching the game. There is no point where I really thought the Bills were going to win this game until the Ravens punted the ball. So, yeah, what a choke job here, and what a week in the NFL. So let me know in the comment section if you guys like this strategy of me going from worst game to best game. I think that's a much better thing, personally. And I did all this in one take, so I normally do a bunch of edits. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comment section. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, like the video. And be sure to share it out to your friends and all that stuff. I will do this every week, and we got wrestling coming up next week. Well, not next week, but every Wednesday we have wrestling. So every Tuesday you can look forward to this video. Every Wednesday you can look forward to wrestling. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.